Hi there, Tom Carnell here, Carnell Knowledge. You'll have to forgive my state of dress. I'm hip deep in all sorts of stuff. We are getting ready to finalize all of the files on my next short story collection called Open Late. Has to do with a group of people that are at a diner in the middle of the desert during a rainstorm, and they start telling stories, and that's kind of, it's a short story collection, so that's sort of the portmanteau of it all that sort of lines up all of the stories. And then I just finalized the book after that, which is going to be an ebook only, a collection of the really nice choice interviews that I did for Fangoria and Dread Central through the years of 2000 to 2014, and there's a ton of stuff in there that's really good. The book is massive. It's about 170,000 words. I'm very excited. I don't have a title. I don't have a structure. I just gathered everything together, and I'm very excited about it. I can't wait for you all to see it. And I can't wait for you all to see Open Late. I'm very, very proud of the stuff that's inside. And I'm hoping to get that out within a month or so, give or take, by summer. Fingers crossed. But the cover looks great. The layout looks great, yeah, all I need to do is gather my wagons and get the ISBN and the UPC code in the back, and we're ready to go. And I'm very excited about that. But this show is a fine sunny day here in Bellingham, Washington, and the weather is finally breaking, and we're getting a little sun, which is pretty awesome. If you don't know who I am, again, my name is Tom Carnell. I was a buyer for Tower Records, Warehouse, and Record Factory for about 20 years. I published Carpe Noctem in the 90s, which was a dark art publication in which we did a lot of profiles on artists and interviews with all sorts of people. And then from 2000 to 2014, I worked for Fangoria and Dread Central. I did a couple of podcasts littered about through there. You can find those on my website. And now I'm an author, and I've got a bunch of books on Amazon.com. This is a show I've been doing for a while now. I do it 3 times a week on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, along with some special Saturday shows that I put up now and again. I've been putting up a lot. But on this show, the format is to review / recommend 5 movies, a book, and 5 records. I don't think it's a big world out there, as I often say, and I think that a lot of it doesn't get covered because most of the people here on YouTube and on Book Talk and X Talk and all that other stuff just don't know about it. And a lot of people don't know about this stuff. I have dedicated myself for a good long time to uncovering the things that get missed. I have been doing record crate diving since as long as I can remember, like the 80s, and have been a movie fan since I was a kid. So that's what that is. We're going to sort of go through a bunch of stuff on this episode, and I think that you're going to dig a lot of it. Be sure to watch this video to the end. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. That really helps me out. Like the video, that really helps me out. Watch it to the end, even if you go into the other room. Let it play, because that really helps me out with ye old algorithm. If you have something to talk about or have a question to ask, put it down there in the comments. I get back to you all pretty quick. If it's something you want to take offline, go ahead and email me at tomcarnell@gmail.com. Okay, so with that out of the way, I got some good stuff for you this week. I really do. I have one movie in particular I'm going to get to in a second that is just going to knock your socks off. Let's start here. 2023, a guy named David Gregory, who is a documentarian. He did things like Blood and Flesh, The Real Life and Ghastly Death of Al Adamson. He did The Lost Soul, The Doomed Journey of Richard Stanley's Isle of Dr. Moreau. His IMDb is mouth-watering. He does there's a really great video on YouTube called Taste the Blood of Martin that I was just talking to John Amplis, who started Martin. I was just talking to him about it, and he gives it a thumbs up. And it's a great documentary. If you like the film Martin by George Romero, this is the documentary from you. Also, on a side note, if you know where to look and you look carefully, you can find it's called Vampire, Wampyr. It's the Italian cut of Martin, and the timeline is completely different. The performances are pretty different, but it's out there and you can find it. If you can't find it, comment to me or email me and I'll hook you up. So David Gregory, good guy, huge filmography, and it's pretty awesome. The film is called Enter the Clones of Bruce, and it is a documentary that sort of documents the rise of what has come to be known as Bruceploitation in the 70s. After the death of Bruce Lee, it kicked a pretty major hole in the heart of Hong Kong cinema, and specifically like Golden Harvest and Ren Shaw and the Shaw Brothers and all that other stuff. All the people that were making these sort of what has been called chop sake movies. This, after Bruce died, there was this big rush to find the next Bruce. Jackie Chan was linked into that, and Bolo Young for a little bit. David Chang was involved in all that stuff. But anyway, this documentary sort of documents all of that, the aftermath of Bruce's career and the different iterations: Bruce Lee, Bruce Lai, Bruce Liang, Bruce this, Bruce that. And some of the premises got pretty ridiculous. I'm going to get to one of those in just a second. In the documentary here, there's lots of talking heads, but they are wildly informed talking heads. They talk to Bruce Lai, and he talks about the double-edged sword of being a Bruce Lee clone, how it got him roles in cinema, but it also sort of hamstrung his career from doing anything else. There's a short bio on Bruce Lee to begin with, and then his credits roll. We go right into the imitators. It humanizes the guys who were just having eggers on movie sets in Hong Kong, and they were like, "Hey, you look kind of like Bruce Lee," and they grab him, slap him in a bowl cut, put a pair of aviator shades on him, and taught him a few martial arts moves. It's kind of heartbreaking to see these guys, how they were. One guy had talked about how he would have had a career, except his agent said, "Oh yeah, you should take this Bruce clone thing," and that was it. That was the whole wrap. That was a wrap, as they say, on his career. One of the highlights of the documentary is an interview with the great Angela Mao, who I was really shocked to see, because she was big in these kind of movies for a while, and then she just disappeared. But an interview with her, and it looks, 2023, 2022, fairly recent. It also looks at the U.S., Black, French, German markets and how they affected the perception of Bruce Lee and his films in general. There's even Bronson Lee in there, which is like they kind of threw Bruce Lee and Charles Bronson into a blender, and Bronson Lee is what came out. It's a really well documentary, as is all of David Gregory's documentaries. It's great. I saw it on YouTube, and man, I just was loving every second of it. There are a lot of scenes from the movies that were pretty wild, and yeah, highly recommended. All of David Gregory's documentaries, but specifically Enter the Clones of Bruce, I strongly recommend. Up next, film from 2012. I love this film. Chris Butler and Sam Fell directed it. It's called Paranorman. It stars the voices of Cody Smith McPhee, Anna Kendrick, Christopher Mintz-Plasse. It's made by a company called Leica. It was their second film. And Leica was a stop-motion animation company who just was killing it, straight down the line. Their films were... so far are Coraline in 2009, Paranorman in 2012, Box Trolls, which is a wonderful film, in 2014, Kubo and the Two Strings in 2016, Missing Link in 2019, and they have a new film coming out called Wildwood that looks really, really great. This is a tale of a misunderstood boy who takes on ghosts, zombies, and grown-ups to save his town from a centuries-old curse. And what can I tell you? This is an absolute delight. If you love monster movies and if you love being a monster fan, you're going to love Paranorman if you haven't seen it already. The town is called Blythe Hollow, which is a mixture of Blythe Spirit, the Noel Coward story and film, and Sleepy Hollow. To show you the dedication of these guys, there's a scene that takes place in a bathroom in this, and it took a year for one guy to animate. It's the final film of the great Elaine Stritch. If you know who she was a powerhouse on Broadway and in films. There's a great documentary, it used to be on Netflix, about her and her life, and she's just, I don't think she'd be offended if I called her a broad, but she's just very, very cool, very of the old school. The film is loaded with homages, from names to inside jokes based on horror films. One thing I found very interesting is Neil's brother Mitch is the first openly gay animated character in a kids film, and I thought that was really terrific. But this is an enchanting film. I absolutely love Paranorman. Don't sell yourself short by thinking like, oh, it's a kids film. It's much more than that. But yeah, highly recommended, and I think you can get it on Tubi or something like that. Up next, 1961. Roger Corman, the great Roger Corman. We've talked a lot about Roger Corman here. This is Pit and the Pendulum, starring Vincent Price, Barbara Steele, and John Kerr. It's from a story by Edgar Allan Poe, but the script was written by the great Richard Matheson. Has to do with, in the 16th century, Francis Bernard travels to Spain to clarify the strange circumstances of his sister's death after she had married the son of a cruel Spanish inquisitor. It's Roger Corman. It was shot in 15 days. This is the second of Corman's Poe films. The first was Fall of the House of the Usher. And across the board, it's great performances. Vincent Price is tearing it up in this. Just everything just leering, and the scenes with the pendulum in the pit are terrific. Barbara Steele is awesome in this. We're going to cover Tomb of Ligeia at some point, which I also just saw. And all of those Corman Poe films are fantastic. Again, don't sell yourself short on any of them, and especially not Pit and the Pendulum. It's a really fantastic, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Our fourth film is from 1972. I have two titles on it. Deathline, and you gotta love this one, Raw Meat. Directed by Gary Sherman, who did the classic sort of quiet horror film Dead and Buried, and Poltergeist 3. Stars Donald Pleasance, Norman Rosenthal, and David Ladd. The synopsis, as we say around here, is as follows. When a government official disappears in the London tunnels, after several reports of missing people in the same location, Scotland Yard start to take the matter seriously, along with a couple who stumble into a victim by accident. It has to do with cannibals in the London sewer system that are snatching people off the subway platforms, or if they run afoul or they find themselves in the tunnels, they get snatched and taken and eaten. In many ways, as it just occurs to me that sort of premise is very similar to a great book that you can find called Light at the End by John Skipp and Craig Spector. It was the basis. They kind of got ripped off by Buffy the Vampire Slayer with the character Spike, but it's a great book. Deathline, aka Raw Meat, I'll never get tired of saying that, is really fantastic. Christopher Lee shows up, even though they don't share a lot of screen time. Marlon Brando was almost in this, I read. It's one of Edgar Wright's favorite films. And here's the thing that was really interesting about Deathline. It played as a part of a double feature that was going around the time in the mid-70s with the great Ivan Reitman, who did things like Stripes and Meatballs and that kind of thing. he directed a film that's sort of a horror comedy with the title Cannibal Girls. Two of the people from SCTV are in it. And it has to do with these people that meet up with these girls that are all hot and sexy. And the next thing you know, they're cannibals. But here's the thing that was really cool about that. Cannibal Girls had an early warning system. And so during the scene of, let's say, someone walking down a hallway with a flashlight and they turn the corner, and right before they're about to get murdered, this sort of klaxon would sound. And so that was so the people with weak dispositions could cover their eyes. And then after the person was murdered, there would be a bell. That meant, okay, it's all clear and you can take your eyes out. And this is in the midst of a film called Cannibal Girls. It's got a funny edge to it. But anyway, Deathline Raw Meat. It's kind of cool. It's very sort of progressive for its time. The idea that there are people or were people living in the subway system was novel. No one believed it. Now there are documentaries about people living in the New York subway system. And it's fun. It's dated. It's 1972. Everyone's got a certain fashion sense. But well, we're seeing it. It's a nice B picture to some other stuff that you may spend the night if you want to program a double feature. This is a fine way to get things started. I enjoyed it, and I do recommend it. Now, this is the film I absolutely loved. 1977, directed by Chi Lo, starred Si Lung Leung, Ai Leung Shen, and Xing Ten. It's called Li San Jiao Wei Zhen Du Yu Mei. It's also called Deadly Hands of Kung Fu. And I saw it under the title, The Dragon Lives Again. All right, you with me? Here's the synopsis. You're going to love this. The soul of Bruce Lee travels to the underworld, where he meets up with the king of the underworld. And in the course of the rest of the film, he fights a list of people from the literary realm and the cinematic realm. And here's a small list of the people that Bruce Lee fights. Dracula, James Bond, Clint Eastwood as the man with no name. He also befriends someone as the one-armed swordsman, as Kane from the TV show Kung Fu, and Popeye the Sailor, where this guy in a sailor suit with a pipe hanging in the front of his mouth does Kung Fu. And it is an absolutely gleefully ridiculous film. I highly recommend it. You will not believe the twists and turns that this thing takes. I was utterly enchanted by the entire thing. It is, I'm not even gonna lie, it is a terrible film as films go. But as an exercise in just like what were they thinking kind of a thing, this thing tops the list. At one point, I was kind of irritated because at one point, the character who's Bruce looks towards the camera and apologizes to someone named Linda for cheating on her. Where that comes from, I don't know. I can only assume that he's talking about Linda Lee, Bruce's wife. There were, as far as I can tell, and I follow all the Bruce Lee stuff pretty closely, there was no evidence of him cheating. There might have been, but I've never found it. But yeah, it came out of nowhere, did nothing to further the narrative, and that was the end of that. Well, we're seeing, perfect for watching with friends if you want to riff along with it, like MST3K style. Super fun though. It was the highlight of my week. I shared it with every one of my pals. And I'm like, you don't even ask questions. Click on this link and go watch this movie because it is bananas. Okay, so moving on to books. I've got a great book for you this week. Mort Castle, who's a fine science fiction horror writer for years and years and years, he did, in Skip Inspector's Book of the Dead, he did a great story called The Old Man and the Dead, which was a riff on Hemingway's Old Man and the Sea, but it involves zombies. He has a book from 2002 called New Moon on the Water. It's a collection of disturbing horror tales that shows our world in a new, darker light, revealing the many terrifying things that await us in the shadows around the corner and in our very own home. He's a legendary writer. This is a semi-successful book in that it's full of shorts and super shorts. As always with short story collections, we apply the rule of the good, the bad, and the ugly. There are really terrific stories. There are very good stories. And then there are clunkers. There are, even in my short stories collections, there are clunkers that you try your best with. You put your best foot forward and somehow they just don't work. All of that applies on every single short story collection out there. The reviews in Amazon are kind of split down the middle on this. I enjoyed it. I like Mort Castle. I like him as a person, and I like him his writing style. Yeah, highly recommended. I got it on my Kindle for like $3. Yeah, excuse me. Highly recommended. Check it out. Moving on to records. We got some good stuff. First record, 1977, Tim Blake, and his record Crystal Machine. Blake is an English keyboardist. He worked with bands like Gong and Hawkwind. This is electronic music, very spacey, very smoke 'em if you got 'em, right? You with me? It's a little noodly, but it's very much enjoyable. It's a record you could put on at night and just chill to. The things that it reminded me of will sort of help bring it more into focus. Richard Pinhas, Adalbert Von Dayen, Mythos, Larry Fast, and Synergy. The band Helden, Tangerine Dream, Klaus Schultz, Vangelis, Constant Demby, and the recently covered Redshift. I like this record. It made me go out and snag a couple more by Tim Blake. It's good stuff. If you like electronic music, specifically like old school electronica, or even the Berlin school, if you know what that is, that's where the Tangerine Dream, Klaus Schultz stuff comes into play. It's a great book. It's a great record. Thoroughly enjoyed it. And I would recommend it to people, whether you like electronica or not. This is well worth checking out. Our next record, 2014, the band is called Ars Nova, A-R-S Nova. The record is called The Book of the Dead. They are a Japanese progressive rock band, clearly influenced by things like Emerson, Lake and Palmer, by Goblin, and the Italian band Il Balletto di Bronzo. It's very much a prog record. Classically influenced, but make no mistake, this is a straight up prog record. Reminded me of PFM, Premiata Fornieri Marconi, Transatlantic, Spock's Beard, the aforementioned Emerson, Lake and Palmer, and Goblin. It was enjoyable. It doesn't break a lot of new ground. It is kind of happy in the groove that it establishes and the niche that it is operating in. But it was a record that I hadn't heard of, and I gave it a shot, and lo and behold, it was good stuff. Up next, 1982. I love this record. Marshall Crenshaw, who was an American musician, he played Buddy Holly in the film La Bamba. It's his first record. It's got a hit on it called Someday, Some Way. The whole record is fantastic. It's kind of what I'm going to call power pop / jangle pop. Your mom would love this record. It's fantastic. His subsequent records were okay. This was one of those things where, as I always say, you have your entire life to make your first record, and then you have a year to make every record after that. And this kind of shows that. His records are good. They're all enjoyable, but there's something really special about his first record. Reminded me of things like Nick Lowe, Dave Edmunds, Joe Jackson, The Smithereens, right? You with me? It's good stuff. And I don't hear it talked about. So I decided to talk about it. I got two more. This is going to surprise a lot of people that I'm bringing this up, and that I will go on the record as soon as I like this record. English singer and songwriter Raye, R-A-Y-E, has a new record out. It just came out about a couple of weeks ago. It's called This Music May Contain Hope. She often gets lumped in with other vocalists of the modern day, like Rihanna and Sabrina Carpenter, but make no mistake, her records are really old school, and she's got this dynamite band behind her. Big horns, big rhythm section, and she's got a great voice. She does tend to intersperse between her songs these talky bits that I could frankly do without. And 9 times out of 10, I skip over because I don't care. I don't care about your motivations. Let me hear the music. And the music that's here is great. She has a live record that's dynamite. I would lump her in with Adele's more soulful moments. The music of Dua Lipa is in there. Nina Simone, and even a little Etta James. She's got a big voice, and she knows how to use it. And This Music May Contain Hope, her latest record, did nothing to change my mind on that. I had first heard the live record, and it really blew me away. So, and then our last record, again, from 2026, this came out just a couple weeks ago. It's the soundtrack to the film SIRAT, S-A-R-A-T, and the artist is Kangding Ray, a.k.a. David Letellier. Born in France, based in Berlin. This is very much spatial soundscapes, very airy. It's still groove oriented, and there are times when it almost leans into like techno and house. But it's definitely not what you'd expect given the film's subject matter. It works, and I loved every second of it. But when I put it on, I was expecting one thing, and then quickly had to readjust my frame of my mind to oh wait, this isn't what I expected, and that's a good thing. That's always a good thing. But it's something different, and it's something that I'm finding myself enjoying. Reminding me of the work of Daniel Avery, Plastic Man, Polygonia, Artifact, Autechre, and at times Lustmord. Yeah, it was great stuff, and I love any time that an artist can throw me a curveball where I expect one thing and get another. And that's going to do it on a Wednesday. See That Dragon Lives Forever, or The Dragon Lives Again. It was fantastic. I will be back on Friday with I got a whole batch of other stuff to talk to y'all about. Once again, I'm very, very grateful to everyone that watches every week. I'm very grateful to those who like and share and subscribe. I don't know what to say. Please, if you would, share some of this stuff to your social media. As they say, tell a friend. And I appreciate you. Just know that. All right. So we're going to see you on Friday, and I hope y'all have a good week.